Hey everybody, so the other day I watched the movie Bruce Almighty. Have you ever seen Bruce Almighty? Anyone?
Yeah! Multiple times.
So in that movie, Morgan Freeman plays God, okay? They have God as played by a black guy. Can you believe it? They should not have had a black guy play God. They should have had God be played by a black woman. You know? Someone like Viola Davis. Not Morgan Freeman. But anyway, that reminds me of something. So today I had the opportunity to catch up with an old friend of mine. Her name is Monique. Okay? So today me and Monique went to go get iced lattes. Okay? But while we were sipping our iced lattes, a couple things happened that really bothered me. So first, this really loud truck drove by. This ridiculously huge truck, really loud. It was like, brum, 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 brum. And I tried to, tune it out. But then the owner of the car, he rolled down the window and he yelled out, "I have a small penis!" I was just like, okay, so I just tried to ignore him. He drove off. But then something else happened that bothered me again. I just tried to, go back to sipping my latte and chatting with Monique, but then something else, distracted me. I saw these two chicks, and they were Zoomers. You know what a Zoomer is? Gen Z. They were Zoomer chicks, and they were just, glued to their iPhones, and they were taking pictures of everything. And they even took a selfie in front of a stop sign. They were like this. It was so stupid. I wanted to ignore them, but I couldn't. And then they started walking close enough that I could hear their conversation. I didn't want to hear it, but I could. And it went something like this. Bitch, GTFO. Dead ass. Dead ass? Dead ass. And at that point, I kind of just reached my breaking point. It's just everything, the combination of the loud truck and the stop sign selfie and the small penis and the dead ass, all that combined just pushed me to my limit. I just said, Monique, I do not like living in the 2020s. This is not my decade. I want to go back in time to a simpler time. I said, Monique, if I had a time machine that could take us back, way back to a simpler time, would you go in that time machine with me? She said, that depends. How far back do you want to go? And I said, I want to go all the way back to before the iPhone was invented. Heck, before the car was even invented. I want to go all the way back to the year 1800. I said, would you get in a time machine and go to the year 1800 with me, Monique? And she said, no. No, I would not. I said, well, why not? And she said, think about it. I thought about it. I couldn't think of it. I said, give me a hint, Monique. And she said, okay, I'll give you a hint. I'm black. I said, okay. Oh, in 1800, they hadn't invented basketball yet. Black people love basketball. Is that it? She said, no. I said, okay, maybe in 1800 they didn't have family reunions with matching T-shirts, or and she said, strike two. I said, okay, I only get one more guess. I better make it count. So I said, okay, wait a minute, I got it. In 1800, they didn't have television. So I said, I got it, Monique. You would want to be able to watch television, to distract you while you're getting fucked by Thomas Jefferson. That's it. I can't blame her. She looked at me, she said, bingo. I was like, that's it. I knew it. I can't blame her, I wouldn't want to, go back without a television if I was going to get fucked by Thomas Jefferson. I couldn't watch my favorite TV show to distract me from that. That'd be horrible, wouldn't it? All right. Well, anyways, that's all my time. I'm Stewart Pidfellow. I'll see you next time.